Hello everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. I've got a good one for you today. We're going to do fan questions. We're going to do prepper questions, right? It's something I like to do every now and then, just take out what you guys are interested in and talk about it. It's a lot of fun. It's not unusual, but it certainly does provide me, and so probably everyone else, with a good look, right? So we can re-examine stuff. So let's start with some good ones. Okay, I'm going to change the names to protect the innocent preppers out there, but I want to stick as close to I can as what's being written here. So I want to start with a letter from Thomas. He writes, Hello, John. I appreciate all the content you provide. I have a question for you to talk about on one of your shows, and it just happens to be this one. He writes, I'm torn at the moment between spending more money on prepping or saving every penny I can so I can move out of the big city. What should I do? I won't give any solid recommendation here, but what I will do is talk about the options. To get some more context on Thomas's story, he writes, I currently live in Denver. I'm in my mid-30s with wife and 2 babies. I have a decent job as a carpenter earning $75K in the Denver area. I'd like to move to Kalispell, Montana. I'm decently prepped up, but want to do more. I have a decent amount of food, books, tools, and guns, but I need numerous other preps, but have been hesitant to spend since saving is so hard and getting out of the big city is a major prepping priority. What should I do? This really comes down to personal preferences. You know, when shit hits the fan, we're all going to be at risk. Right, so we need to weigh what risk is better, which one's worse, which one can we deal with, which one do we have better odds of surviving, right? And there's another friend I've been corresponding with down in New Mexico. How you doing, Aaron? The question is, stay right there or get the hell out. Or, in Aaron's case, wait for something to happen. Wait for some big clue, right? And maybe that big clue will be shit hits the fan, right? And then everyone's going to be on the move. But this really is a great predicament. It's a huge quandary from which to try and think your way out of. So Thomas is in Denver, makes really good money, wants to get out of Denver. But the question is, well, if you think shit can hit the fan this spring, this summer, this fall, maybe you had better get more preps, unless working a few more months is going to get you the money to get you up to Kalispell. That's the question, right? If you knew shit was going to hit the fan in 5 years, that would give you plenty of time to get to Kalispell and get all your preps up. One of the things I've noticed is you get enough food, you get enough items, and it becomes quite a burden. Not a burden, a burden, a package, right? It's a lot of stuff. So you need a place. So the more you collect and save now, the harder it's going to be to move that stuff later. Significantly harder, I don't know, but it's certainly going to have some effect. Making a life decision on prepping is a difficult one. I knew people that moved to Montana literally back in the 70s because they felt there was going to be trouble in the 70s, and there was. The 70s was a very troublesome time. Economically and politically and socially, but shit did not hit the fan, and that person that I knew ended up moving back from Montana. We just don't know. We don't know. How can we know if the shit that hits the fan is going to be mild or medium or just off the hook Captain Caveman? We don't really know. So we plan for the best. Now, in Thomas's case, he's a carpenter. He might be able to find really good work up in Montana, or possibly not. The last thing you want to do is move somewhere that you're screwed, right? But if you're certain shit's going to hit the fan, like a lot of people down on the southern border are. They just feel like they're being invaded on a daily basis, right? You may want to get out of where you're at. So it really comes down to where you are. What are your prospects for the future? What is the risk you're facing now? You know, Denver is, as far as I'm concerned, it's another major metropolis shithole. And leave apart all the romantic bullshit about it being the Old West and it's in the mountains and it's really cool and it's mile high. You know, fuck that. There are bad people in Denver just like there's bad people everywhere. But are you in the suburbs? Do you have a quick route out? Do you have a backup location? Or is your bug-in, is your shit-it's-the-fan location your house? And if so, do you have food, water, shelter, clothing, right, self-defense? Do you have all that covered? And do you have a prepper group? Right? If you have a prepper, I would rather have a prepper group in Denver than no prepper group in Kalispell. Right? Because if something goes wrong in Kalispell, who can you count on? Who can you rely on for help? Who can you help? Right? Will you be trusted? See, smaller communities, people tend to trust each other if they know you, and if they don't know you, you're in a heap of big trouble. So anyways, great question to ponder and think about. I recommend everyone go through that exercise. Moving on, I got a kind of a comment here from Kurt. He says, can you imagine Johnny Carson back in the 80s, or how about the 70s, coming out night after night and trashing on Ronald Reagan? Great question. I don't know if Carson was a Republican or a Democrat. He was probably a Democrat. The vast majority of them are. Back in them days, we had respect for people. We treated people right. We had morals. There are no morals today. Well, there are no morals in Hollywood. There are no morals in the media industry. There are no morals on the left. Everything on the political left is relative to what it is they believe at the moment. And they can justify any immorality by claiming that the thing that they're doing is less evil than what it is they're fighting. So they could murder a school bus full of Republican children because they're Republican children, and they're going to grow up and probably kill hundreds of other people, including minorities. So see, they could justify that immorality because there's a greater evil that they think they're killing. So yeah, they are immoral. Now moving on with what Kurt wrote. I watched a lecture Anne Barnhart gave years ago, and she said the solution to our problems is a moral society. And she's 100% correct. He wrote, I think she's batshit crazy, but I agree with her. Batshit crazy. Oh, fuck. I'm looking forward to your weekly news video in a few hours. So Kurt he agrees. I agree also. The cure, the solution is a moral society. Right? The body politic being populated with moral people. The government, as in its elected representatives, are moral people. The bureaucracy is moral. Business is moral. That is the solution. The problem is that people are not moral in business, in bureaucracy, in government, in elected positions, and just regular people. Immorality is rampant. It's rampant. Right? It's if you were to look at Old Testament Bible, whenever they talk about a city or a people or something that gets destroyed, it's because the people are immoral. They have no foundation. All the rules are out the window. As a result, crime is rampant. Hate is rampant. Right? It's just a bad scene. And that's what we've got now. When you can give birth to a baby and still find justification for murdering it. That's immorality on a massive scale. Right? If you can put up, I don't even want to go there. These people are disgusting. Right? They're now electing Democrats who are openly anti-Semitic. Right? At a time when we're supposed to not be anti-Semitic, we're not supposed to be anti-black, we're not supposed to be anti-Muslim, we're not supposed to be anti-anything, but they do allow to be anti-white male Christian, or anti-white, or anti-Christian, or anti-white Christian, or just anti-male. right? That's all acceptable. But, right, so that's what we've got going on. That the immorality is so far off the hook that people that are being just immoral, AOC saying she needs to take over the entire economy for her Green New Deal. That is a statement of immorality on a cosmic scale, because it would require the theft of money from generations yet born. It would require the enslavement of a people and the sacrifice of their rights on an epic scale. But that's what we're dealing with. And it's absolutely an interesting observation. You know, would Johnny Carson run Ronald Reagan into the ground every day? No, he wouldn't. No, he didn't. Right? Every now and then they would do off-color political jokes, but they were typically, funny. Now it's bitter, hate-filled partisanship. It's naked hatred. It's another indicator of the immorality. They're not poking fun at themselves anymore in media. They're wanting to murder people in a literal sense and in a societal or cultural sense. You know, I've seen it and I've experienced it, by the way, and it is absolutely horrifying when someone goes after you and tries destroying your character and your professional persona, right? Your social status, your political position. It's absolutely horrifying. Okay, so let's move on to another great comment / question. This one comes from, and I'm changing the name to protect the innocent. This is Milfred, and he writes, "A couple of years ago, I was alone on the range doing drills whereby you shoot your rifle and it is empty or malfunctions and you have no time to deal with it. You drop it on a sling and draw and fire your pistol. I was doing that and working on speed over and over. Shot rifle, draw and fired pistol, holster pistol, grab the rifle, bam." He writes, "I fired a round off 1 inch from my foot. Was the safety on? No. How was my trigger finger disciplined? Non-existent. Obviously, when I grabbed my rifle, my finger went to the trigger, right, even though the rifle was not pointed at a target, right? Unless I consider my foot to be a target, right?" He says, "This is embarrassing and nearly blew my foot in half with a rifle round. I don't want to give the caliber because I don't want anyone to go, see, it's that kind of rifle that's bad." You know, I'm not making fun of those Russians. "I've shot my entire life, had some training, etc. And what did I do? I got sloppy. Don't get sloppy, and don't wake up in a roadside ditch." I love that. "Why do I share this embarrassing story?" he writes. "So others may learn. Don't do what I did and don't get sloppy." This is something we did as a Marine. This is something I did as a young man, as a hunter. When you practice like you are doing it for real. It's a great point he makes. You need to train. You need to train for all of these different circumstances. Your rifle may malfunction. Your handgun may malfunction. You may run out of ammo in one and have to switch to another. Really good training exercise, right? Because you figure out, well, I can hit that target with this pistol, but at that range, this other, my other weapon is not going to function as well. And it comes down to disciplining yourself to taking the proper steps no matter what, right? Shooting yourself in the foot is a bad scene. Luckily, this guy didn't. But I've seen it in films, or used to see it in films on YouTube. Police doing classes inside a classroom and literally shooting, right, the side of the leg, giving themselves a racing stripe because they put their hand on their pistol and pulled the trigger while it was in the holster. Just not brilliant. That's another reason I don't like Glocks. I like my 1911 because it has a fucking safety on it. Anyways, I don't want to hear, well, the tip of the trigger is your safety. I don't like that. But that's just me personally. If you guys like those Glocks, have at it. Right? Anyways, Sorry for that aside. The idea behind practicing is not just to put rounds down range. It's not just to get your sights on target and a clear front sight picture and sight alignment and moving from target to target effectively and hitting it. It's practicing those things. And this isn't a safety fucking Sally speech. It's about practicing everything. Before that weapon is holstered, the safety goes on. Right? And again, I like 1911s. They have a safety. You safety it. If you've got an AR, it goes on safety. If you've got an AK, it goes on safety. Whatever it is you're shooting, it goes on safety before you drop it or set it aside. And if you practice enough, putting the safety on doesn't take any more time. Right? As the hand with the sidearm goes to your side, you will be clicking on the safety. If you've got a rifle and it malfunctions and you just drop it, or it's hanging from you by a sling because you don't know why it didn't malfunction. It could go off at any time. You could hit it or bump it on something and the hammer could come loose and fire around and chamber around. You just don't know. So, safety, right? And it's not just about putting on the safety. It's about everything you do, right? Where you point your weapon. I've been at a range and people are just careless about where they point their weapon. Right? I don't care if it's unloaded or not. You don't point it in any other person's general direction. But if you practice bad rules or if you practice sloppy or undisciplined, right, you're gonna ingrain that. You need to be very practiced, very careful, very thorough, and eventually, what happens is you develop the proper skills so that everything you do is always 100% safe, by the book, and proficient, right? And to make the point, to make the case, I've never shot anyone. I have never shot myself. I have never shot accidentally. I've never had a weapon fire when I didn't expect it to. Nor do I want any of those things to happen. Right? The only time a weapon that I was holding went off was when I pulled the trigger intentionally and I knew what I was doing. Right? The reason is because you practice discipline. You don't practice sloppy. Sloppy gets you sloppy results. Okay, now let's move on. John, there is never a day we don't like hearing from you. I'm not sure how in the hell you find new subjects year after year, but you do. Today my mind spun around to body armor and tactical gear. I finally purchased a quality AR Springfield Saint. I figured if I'm going to gun up, I need to armor up. Big step for me. Never thought I'd purchase such a thing. In a sense, I realized we need to match their capabilities the best we can if the situation were to arise. And with that thought, it comes to mind that you could do a live show dedicated to those who want to understand tactical gear, find quality products for reasonable prices, Condor, cough, Condor, head-to-toe camo gear, basically answer questions and share with us all your knowledge about being a tactical fighter and the importance of stealth. I know you've dived into this. Being that many of us are on a budget, these things don't come cheap. I can say, though, PSA makes great ASRs for budget. AT3 RD50 is a great red dot for $100. It's been tested with shotgun blast to it and hard falls. I'm guessing this conversation would be a blast for those interested in stepping up their defenses. Thought I'd share that idea. Also, AR500 is making level 3 body armor plates. Buy one, get one free for 110 total. AR500 is a partner with the Prepared Mind Club. You can go there, click the link, and I have that AR500 level 3 body armor, and I actually did a video on it, shooting it with everything that that we had in the arsenal, and very impressive stuff. It was a great video to make. Let's see. He says, I noticed they are slammed with orders, and I wouldn't be surprised. With the state of the nation, with everything from other idiot Americans to communists to gang members, cartel members, to rogue agents out there who just find it necessary to shoot people. All of these idiots find it necessary to shoot other people. Whether they're good guys or bad guys, everyone thinks it's just fine to start fucking killing people. When shit hits the fan, that's to be expected. My problem with any of the body armor is I'm rather large. So a plate doesn't cover me as significantly or thoroughly as it covers other people. But still, very good to have. And it is heavy. My recommendation for tactical gear is go to a source, if you can, in person, and feel the gear. Look at the stitching. Feel the quality and heaviness of the fabric. Do those things. Right? Look at the options you have for magazines, for holsters, for other gear. And what gear is it you're going to need? Right? When I've done videos on optics, night optics, and other scopes, and all it does is start a fucking pissing match. It's a goddamn waste of time for me to talk about something that I think is acceptable or something that I think is exceptional, just to have some fucking know-it-all throw his shit out there. My recommendation is read the reviews. 1, go see the product in person. Handle it. Talk to the store clerk about it. And don't buy it. Go back and do more research. This has to do with whether you're buying an AR, or whether you're buying gear, whether you're buying body armor, whether you're buying optics, whether you're buying magazines. Right? We all end up with our own preferences. You know, I have scopes that cost hundreds of dollars, and I have scopes that cost $50. Right? And they all have their place. And if you can't afford a $500 night vision scope, you can't afford it. Buy what you can afford, because it's going to afford you a higher level of protection. It's going to afford you a better chance at self-defense and protecting yourself when we get to that time, when we get to that place. You know, that is really what it comes down to. What can you afford? Can you afford a tactical vest that you can load with things that you need for shit hitting the fan? Yeah, hopefully. Can you afford one with plates in it? Maybe not all at once. To buy a completely packed, right, plate carrier with plates cost you $500, right? But if you buy a good quality tactical vest and buy plates, the front plate, the back plate, as you can, or front plate, 2 side plates, you know, that's what you want to do. You want to do what you can. That's all anybody can ask of themselves and of others. Do all that you can to be prepared, to practice and be proficient and disciplined, right? To understand the immorality in the world, right? To know what your options are. Should you stay? Should you go? Should you do it now? Should you do it later? The reason I liked all these questions is it covered so much. And this is why I really value everything that you guys write. People that write me privately and tell me things, tell me what's going on. You know, it's just crazy. It's crazy how much we all seem to know that bad things are happening. How close we are at any one time to shit hitting the fan. And to me, it seems that no matter what, it's going to happen because the world is an immoral place, and that others have sold each other out in order to try and get a better hand. You know, if I could get away from this all, I would, but I can't. You know, like everyone else, I'm stuck right in the middle, stuck in the middle with you. Oh boy. Anyways, great comments, great questions, great suggestions. I want to thank all of you for hanging out with me and for sharing your ideas and for helping other people. Because I know that if you're a prepper, even if you're a fucking lone wolf, you do what you can to help other people because you have a moral foundation. You know, that's a good thing. It's a damn good thing to have. And you're going to want it. You're going to want to feel your humanity. When bad things happen, you're going to want to know that you're a decent human being. Right? Just a little psychology for you. Anyways, you guys be cool. I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Godspeed to all and Semper Fi.